I'm going to Disney World. Since January 1987, Disney has filmed a Super Bowl winning player making that declaration within seconds of the game's end as a part of its What's Next advertising campaign. Then the exhausted player and his family are hauled to Disney to fulfill that statement. For a while, it was fun to wait for the end of the game to see who they would pick, but now I couldn't care less. Like so many other things in life, including football, it seems to have run its course, and we're wondering what's next. Especially this year, will they continue the tradition or let it go? Today's Morning Minutes in the Bible on Traditional Tuesday looks at an event that kept one ancient tradition and then left everyone standing around wondering what's next. When David was anointed king of Israel by Samuel, the account of that great event appeared to leave David and his family wondering what's next. The text is simple and short, very short. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers, and the Spirit of Yahweh came mightily on David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah, 1 Samuel 16, verse 13. And that was it. Think for a moment about how they had to feel. They knew Saul was well established as the ruling king of Israel, but they probably also knew about his rebellion against and rejection by God. Then suddenly Samuel showed up, poured oil on David's head, and said, "You're the new king of Israel," and left. Pouring oil on the new king was an old tradition. But even though Saul's anointing was done quietly and privately, 1 Samuel 10, verse 1, the selection of a competing king and leaving him home alone with his family with no instruction on what to do was a genuinely unique event for Israel and David and his family. There were no traditions in Israel for this situation. What next, indeed? What would you do in that situation? Would you announce it to the world and start a rebellion against Saul? Would you at least start exercising authority in your family and bossing everybody around? David didn't do either. Instead, David started a tradition most people refuse to follow. 1 Samuel 16 verses 17 through 19 reveal how David was called to sing for Saul. So Saul said to his servant, "Provide for me now a man who can play well and bring him to me," verse 17. After one of his soldiers recommended David, verse 19 tells us Saul sent an order, "Send me your son, David." What's really fascinating is how Saul finished his order to Jesse. After saying, "Send me your son," he added, "Who is with the flock?" In chapter 17, we learn that whatever else David did, he went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's flock at Bethlehem, 1 Samuel 17, verse 15. And when he asked his brothers about Goliath, the oldest accused him of abandoning the sheep to come see the battle, verse 28. Through it all, David maintained the heart of a humble shepherd. Is it any wonder God chose him? Let's make having a heart like David's, the heart of a humble shepherd, a servant, our newest tradition. Thanks for watching today's Morning Minutes in the Bible on Traditional Tuesday. Please make it a daily tradition. And until tomorrow, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.